Very nice. How's your day and your week been? You working a lot this last week?
No, not really. It's been a slow week at work, and they don't really need a lot of people.
Oh, fair. Yeah. Very, very cool. Right on. Here, let me pull up the goods. Just a sec here. Very impressed with the changes you made with Baker. This was really, I love. It's so sinister and it's so descriptive. I really, really dug this. Just any suggestions that I'm making are either, some of them are just strictly grammatical or um, spelling or punctuation, which your spell check is going to catch most of. But generally, I just love
Hmm.
these changes. Just a few suggestions then along the way. I love the way you're painting him too. Like now Baker, okay, now Baker's starting to really feel like a guy who's got a mission, he's got a plan. I love the way you sort of set up the joining of the BPA, why he's and how he found out interested in Julie's, how he found out about that. Um, so going through here, little things like if they would just give up their secrets, he wouldn't have to deal with his unpleasantness anymore. I might clarify what you mean by unpleasantness, because the impression I get is it's certainly not unpleasant to him to do this to somebody, because up here it's describing how much he's smiling and cruel about it.
Hmm.
Do you mean it's unpleasant because um, I would suggest that you go with something like inconvenience instead of
Yeah, I was
unpleasantness?
going for more like a tedious thing.
Mm, I would, yeah, because it's so terrifying if you say, for example, just as a suggestion, inconvenience, because it's clearly not unpleasant to him, but
Hmm.
it seems like oh God, I wish I didn't have to deal with this anymore. Not because it's disgusting to rip elves apart, because it's just a waste of my time,
Hmm.
right? So he's totally Joseph Mengele. He's like feels like one of the Nazi doctors that would like do experiments on Jews.
That's
Like
what
it's
I did. That's what I was going for.
is it okay? I love that. I just think that's really, really that's fantastic. So I love he's so diabolical. Now I'm
Did he still
really
come across as fat? Because that's the big thing I wanted. I'm just.
um I think so. I didn't pay particular attention to that, but I think I
Okay.
do remember now that you had some, meaty hands, and I think you do use fat once. But he also seems like, oh, he's just so I thought of some bad guy in something. I can't remember what it was. Minor suggestion here. Baker had been searching for the secret of true eternal life since his grandfather had died. How old is Baker, by the way? I'm curious.
I was gonna put him around like 60, like kind of up there.
Yeah. So I might go for something. Might go for something a little more descriptive, or because grandparents dying is so normal and it's something that most people go, really? His grandfather died and that's why he wants to do this? Um, my suggestion might be to describe his grandfather experiencing a long, lingering death, slowly falling
Hmm.
apart and finally dying, or something along that line, or something other than granted, because whatever the deal is, I'm supposed to be convinced that this was so traumatizing to him. Like there's no way he's 60 and he hasn't seen a lot of death. But if it's a death that's sort of like you have here,
Hmm.
either deeply personal and or really excruciatingly drawn out, then I can understand, okay, then whoever it is, if especially if he had to nurse him, especially since he, like grandfather died and it took him, months to die, and he was the one who had to take care of him. Oh, that's all you need to say. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that convinces me. If somebody had to deal with that level of care and up close and personal with death for a long period of time, especially if it was like he had like almost a version of leprosy where his body was slowly falling apart.
Hmm.
Yeah, that would do it for me. So maybe just expand on that a little bit.
Okay.
But I love this. It's so great. So now he has a reason. I would amplify it a bit, but he's got a reason for being scared of death. I love that. Fortunately, he was born to a wealthy family that had access to magic, easily to accumulate wealth and power. So he joined, yet he had been incapable. Suggestion, the word yet, it's a little thing, but I might do that here so that you said, like, in other words, this, therefore that. Fortunately, he was born to a wealthy family that had access to magic. It was easy to accumulate power and wealth and power, yet he had been incapable of discovering the secrets of immortality.
Hmm.
So he joined the BPA and climbed the ladder through political ladder through bribery, blackmail, and a strong hand. Suggestion, just because you say so, give us a little explanation of why he thought, I'll fix that in a minute, joining the BPA would get him closer to um, immortality or understanding, whatever. Um, just because you make a consequence, you've got this gorgeous logical flow now happening. You say he wanted this.
So he
He had
joined the
wealth.
BPA because of their access to black magic.
Perfect. Yeah.
Not actually
Which
black magic, but I'm going to call it black magic because that makes more sense than explaining the illegal magics, blah de blah de blah. So I'm just going to say black magic.
yeah, and then I might go one step further and explain because you've just said he had access to magic. Uh, he was able to accumulate wealth and power. There was something about the BPA. There was something about their access to black magic. Okay, well, not everybody had access to black magic because one might assume, well, I still don't understand even if they have black magic. He couldn't get that before. No, he couldn't. Okay, then just
How
go
about
that step.
forbidden magics?
That works for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that they were the custodians of, and nobody could access unless they were, a part of the BPA, that kind of a thing. So he joined the BPA. He had finally found something promising when he joined the board. Julius Flamel, the only known immortal human on the planet. Bingo. Okay, so I love this. Like, and you could also reverse it. You could also say he'd been looking for this, he'd been looking for that. Then he heard about Julius, found out he was a member of the BPA, and therefore joined the BPA to get access to Julius. I might put that, that's in that order because it would seem awfully coincidental that he's like, I really want magic that can help me cure death. I think I'll join the BPA. What a coincidence! There's a guy who works here who's immortal. I'd be like, and I would maybe
Put it the other way
potentially
around
reverse
so
that.
that it makes it simpler.
Totally. Then you've got air. Then you're airtight. This is so good. This is so fun to read. Um, Little thing about this sentence, he just had to have him, unfortunately, so long as Flamel, it's technically you'd want to break that. He just had to have him, period,
Okay.
unfortunately, comma, so long as the only thing I would do here is maybe explain because it says unfortunately, so long as Flamel worked at the BPA, his every action was monitored, his location tracked 24/7. My first thought was, I don't see the correlation. Um,
Well, he can't kidnap him and experiment on him if he's always being tracked.
Perfect. So I might do that. He just had to have him. Unfortunately, so long as Flamel were, I would maybe say it different rather than so long as Flamel, but because of Flamel's high profile, now it starts to make
Mm.
sense why he would want to demote Flamel and take him out of the spotlight because then he has less eyes on him and makes him a little more vulnerable.
Mm.
So I might just tease that a little bit and make that a little clearer. Um, I like that. Clarify that it's Flamel's fame and high profile within the BPA that makes him so popular. Um, take him out of the limelight,
Mm.
spotlight, by discrediting and demoting him. And now he's less visible and more vulnerable. Logical. Love it. Perfect. Come down here. You turn back to subjects. Um, Suggestion: take or leave this. What was I going to do with you again? Well, that's kind of cute. I thought, I'm sorry. There's no way this guy was like, why have I got this body here again? Oh, right. So I might just jump right to the now I'll extract. The only thing I might do is I might jump straight to he was just about. I would go if it was me. He had to keep track of why he was. No, I would turn back to his subject. No, let me go back even further. Where did my annotations go?
Everything from
I might go
here.
right from it. He turned back to his subject and was just about to start cutting out the else organs, simply because this clever. I call it a Haydenism. It's really cool and it would be nice. But the first thing, all it did was raise a new question, like, whoa, 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 what? Human test subjects? How Mengele is this guy? Like, how has he got this whole underground Nazi human experimentation going and nobody knows? So my first thought was
Well, how
maybe.
does every single big conspiracy and shit happen on TV and nobody knows? Suspension of
Oh, for
disbelief.
sure, but this is a huge suspension of disbelief that his whole thing is to be under the radar. I don't want anybody to know that I'm interested in Julius.
Well, that's
Sorry, I
why
need to
he
go work.
experiments on homeless people. No one
But
looks for homeless people.
okay, I didn't know they were homeless people. That's interesting. Okay,
Well, that won't
that
come
I
up
would.
until later, but
Okay, so later won't help the confusion created here. So my suggestion would be say show us this later. Show us, and in fact, it's more interesting too. If you, it's evil enough that he's dissecting an elf. If later you show that in addition to that, he's doing that, if you spend all your money in this one chapter,
Oh no, I'm gonna
people are
have
like,
another scene where he's working on the human subject later.
yeah. So my point is you've got an orgy of what they call an orgy of evil here, where you've got so many evil things happening in one at one time. It's sort of it stretches credulity to the point where it's sort of like, okay, so this guy's just a cackling evil villain again. I love that he does this. My suggestion might be to save it till later, because totally apart from it being an orgy of evil, that makes me go, okay, this guy's, one, two, three, four. He's so evil. It also it also begs the question that to me would be more interesting if you're going to introduce something that naturally will lead people to go, what? Human subjects? How is he getting away? This guy's really trying hard not to be detected, but he's openly experimenting on. Well, no, it's not open; it's secret. You'll see later that he's working on it. Later. Screw later.
Hmm.
Tell me later. Then would be my suggestion, just so that we don't, you don't, because it's got such a gorgeous flow that just kind of stopped me in my tracks. But I want that. I want to see that later. I think would be my suggestion. And you could, what you can do is and you can you can take out the organs. Goes, I'll save this for later. You can put that in, because then the audience goes, save it for later. What does that mean? Is he going to eat it? Is he using it for other people? What does that mean? And now I'm excited to find out about later, rather than confused by something I'll only find out later when it's kind of too late. Flow's awesome, 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 awesome. Love the description of Owen. He comes in. Another little thing maybe that just explains, although now that you've clarified the thing above, I now get this. Once the girl is dead, I'll be able to remove Julius from the BPA due to his incompetence of losing 2 junior agents in as many weeks. Because Dick just told us, or told Ramona more specifically in the previous chapter, that Julius has lost these agents in the past. There can be a tendency on his part, because of the nature of his work, to lose them. And the BPA clearly hasn't done anything about it then. It seems incredibly dangerous already for Baker to have created a situation where he's putting this girl on the job, managed to squeak through. Love that they didn't have to use the telepathic abilities. Daphne later may or may not ask the question, but for him to bank everything on, well, when this girl, who really shouldn't have been on this assignment, but I pushed it through, and I know people will ask later, when she dies, Julius will be removed. No, Baker, I'm sorry. There's about a 50% chance that you'll be removed, because if anybody were to seriously investigate this to get rid of Julius, which is what you apparently want, that could blow back on him so bad. And it doesn't matter if later he'll do this and this, we don't know that yet. So my suggestion with that one, once the girl is dead, I'll be able to, what you could do is once the girl is dead, is still not strong enough. What seems to be more likely to get Julius removed from this thing, because the whole thing, going back 2 chapters, the whole thing that Daphne appeared to be setting up is, you're already on the rocks with the BPA. And you could put that in here too, I'm putting you on this assignment, no mention of Ramona yet. I'm putting in this assignment. If you manage to nail this assignment, you'll get back in the good graces. Throwing in Ramona as a reason why he may get kicked off suddenly kind of confuses the issue. It's like, well, no, all he has to do is fail the mission. And it seems like putting her on
No, but I
this
didn't
assignment.
do that. That's the thing, though.
Oh, you didn't do that? You
No,
didn't have the Daphne conversation? That's gone now?
well, no, it still happened, but I didn't specific. But it's never said in there that, like, do the job or you're off. You're off the team.
Okay. Fair enough. So still with the issue then, so it may not be because he's going to fail the mission, but I would clarify why the girl dying would get him removed from this job. I might clarify or bring back what
Yeah,
Daphne
I
had
literally
said
just
earlier.
say I'll be able to remove Julius due to incompetence in losing 2 junior agents in as many weeks.
But that comes back to my original concern, which is that according to Dick, him losing agents in the past, which seems as much likely a result of the nature of the assignments they go on as it is about Julius. that doesn't that if it isn't clear to us that that's enough to get him removed. In fact, it's clear to us that that doesn't get him removed so far anyway. So
Yeah, that's because previously he's had board members who will work with him. Baker doesn't want to work with him. He's trying to get him
perfect. So
fired. This is office politics. It's not.
yeah, but there is the rest of the board. So in other words, he's not a one-man board. So in other words, he can't say, I'm
Yeah,
going to put this woman.
but he can buy them off. He can pay them money.
Sure. So say that. That's whatever your explanation is, because right now, simply saying once the girl is dead, I'll be able to remove Julius without explaining why one would naturally lead to the other is what's making me go, what? Because again, going back to Daphne, totally apart from what she did or didn't say in terms of this assignment and his future, what was clear is that he's on the ropes. So simply Occam's razor, the easiest solution, just remind us of that reality. So in other words, once, once the girl dies, that'll be the last straw for the board. They're ready to get rid of him anyway. And then I'll finally be like just that kind of a thing, because we may not remember going back that far. You've given us a lot of information since Daphne. So at this, my recommendation would be explain to us why the girl dead plus him already being in shit equals probably he's going to get kicked off of this. That would just be my recommendation there.
So make a point that once the mission fails, Baker will be able to politically remove Julius from the job.
Yeah, because now you've turned what looks like a what? Why would he do that into a super logical thing? Because he's been trying to get him off all he's looking for, what it appears to be with Baker, is all he's looking for is the straw that broke the camel's back. Mm-hmm. Julius is already this close from being let go of the BPA, according to Daphne. So all that has to happen in this thing is for one of two things. In fact, my suggestion is it won't be the girl. If I'm Baker, here's how I would hedge my bets. I'm sending her on this job not simply so that she can die and get Julius in trouble, but I'm sending her on this assignment so that either she dies and it gets him in trouble, or she's the monkey wrench in the whole thing and screws the whole thing up. By sending this girl on this assignment, I win either way. Either she dies or she screws the mission up. Either way, Julius is gone. Mm-hmm. Something like that, maybe. Then I can pick him up and pry the secrets of immortality from him at my leisure. My suggestion would be is that he, once the girl is dead, not I'll be able to remove Julius, because I'm still under the impression that there is the rest of the board. He doesn't need to remove him. He's orchestrated this so smartly that he can even go to his defense. If this goes the way Baker thinks it will, he could literally go to the board already getting ready to fire Julius and say, come on, he's one of our best agents. You don't want to let him go. Baker, thanks for being able to do it. Because he's set this up, he set the chessboard so perfectly. Then my suggestion would be he's not just removed, he's isolated or put in some kind of solitary confinement, because otherwise what I'm supposed to believe is that once they fire him, Julius, who's given me every reason to believe he could kick Baker's ass in his sleep, I'm supposed to believe that him simply not being looked at or watched by the board.
No. Baker will just send a strike team, 30 plus Marines.
Then I might say that, because it sounds like he thinks he can just that he'll be removed and then he can just go grab him, kind of thing. I love that. Yeah, maybe just elaborate that, and maybe have Owen say something, because the reader is thinking it. So he says, then with Julius out of the picture, I can send in a team to get him. And if I'm Owen, and I love this because it's a way of Owen's getting to be cheeky while sounding respectful. Really, sir? You think you're just going to send in a team to get Julius? Have you seen Julius? Do you know Julius? Don't worry about it. Leave it to me. And Owen's like, okay. And what could go wrong? You're going to send in a team to get Julius, who takes out a graveyard full of ghouls in his sleep. So I like that.
Ghouls are like dogs with rabies and paralytic claws. They're not that impressive.
Perfect. I would rather face a group of men than a group of paralytic dogs any day of the week. But I would, my suggestion might be that could be a really fun, brief little exchange between them. It's just the stuff to make us buy it. I love that. Great. Right to the end. Love this. Just a gigantic improvement. I thought this was a few little logic holes suggesting, just to clarify, a little bit of punctuation stuff. Love these changes. This is night and day, massive quantum improvement over last
Hmm.
week. Loved it.
So did you get
Okay,
around to
paint.
chapter 11? I think we
I
were at.
got into the first couple or three pages, so let me just pull that up. Let's see here. Yeah, this is flowing really nice now. This was so what I got into here was so minor. You're gonna catch half of it on a spell check or whatever else like that. Sorry, minor thing.
Yeah, I
Remind me
tried to
whether
do a spell check just before I sent it to you. Apparently, not good enough.
no worries. It's more of a. It's actually. It's not a spell check per se. It's a punctuation check. Lots of punctuation stuff. Um, this is just a clarification thing. They're paying. So the pilot isn't a member of the. Isn't
Yeah,
a BPA pilot.
no,
It's just somebody you hired, right?
yep,
Cool.
just some guy. It's cheaper that way.
Again, just a minor thing about a kind of a run-on sentence thing. So thanks for the tip, comma, sir, period. But I warn you, comma, I'm turning around and heading home, period. There's supposed to be another blizzard coming, and I can't be here when it hits. So there's
Okay.
theoretically several punctuation things there. Julius frowned, period. That's what I thought, comma, too. You aren't into drug dealing, are ya? I think you meant to put rather than are ye.
I don't
Um,
know. Whichever one is the appropriate spelling.
either one, yeah. Yay would be more like yay, but yeah, or you, whichever. Oh yes, pay the reindeer pay big bucks for crystal meth, comma. Julius joked. We work for Black Gold Global. Usually, if it's a name of a company, it would
Hmm.
be all capital letters.
Fair enough.
Um, seriously, well, comma, okay, technically when it's in speech is okay.
Hmm.
Okay, comma, then period. I wish you guys a good time on your trip, period. So just some punctuation stuff there.
Wow, I need to get a refund for my Grammarly.
Is Grammarly supposed to catch punctuation?
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay. Yeah, period. They're all werewolves. If something happens to the dogs there, take over, comma, Julia said. Enjoying the small things. Um, I love this. This was a really I think it's such a small thing, but it's such a big thing. Relax, not every paranormal creature is going to be like Matthias. In fact, most of them are just refugees looking for a better life. I don't know why that really moved me. I thought that was a really great explanation. Um,
Well, this eventually ends with them all like like racism and shit. So I decided to make a reference to Mexico,
yeah, yeah, I
which is
love that.
ironic because insulin in Mexico is basically cheap as compared to like $500+ in the U.S.
Oh, interesting. Wow. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that about there in Cuba and different things. Just wanted to clarify, is this a question where if Mona's face was pale? Yeah, that could happen? Is
God
that
damn it!
supposed to be a
Freaking auto
question?
Grammarly.
And I might just suggest, because usually when people are on a mission, they're unless it's on a computer or on a phone or something like this, you're going to want to read up on old BPA case files.
Back up
They're in the
those.
middle of the action. Maybe just indicate where she could find
Yeah.
those. And good flow. That's as far as I got between the two chapters. I love where you're going with this. This was always to me one of your strongest chapters, and you made some really beautiful changes to it. And I
So
feel like
moral
the
of the
move,
story: Grammarly, lots and lots of grammar.
yeah, I guess so.
I'm just gonna see if I can use the spelling and grammar check. Nope, it's just telling me it looks fine. What the? Yeah, so I'm gonna sue Grammarly for that shit. Yeah. Okay. So I guess I'll see you next week. Yeah. I don't think I'll send you interlude again because I might. I don't know 100%, but it looks pretty good. Just some minor parts around some of Baker's points, but yeah, I think I'll probably just send you Copperton and Silent Night, which also needs to be rewritten.
Yeah, no, whatever you think is best. I think you're in generally really good shape. So
Perfect.
fly at it, man.
Okay. See ya
And
next Monday,
I've just
boss.
sent you the pages, so we'll see you next Monday.
Okay. See ya. Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.